Our freedom of conscience and religion is being challenged by laws and regulations imposed by secular society. It's time to hear from the top Christian litigators in the nation who have come forward to tell us the truth and help us defend our faith.
Hear ye, hear ye. All rise. Faith on Trial with Defender of the Faith, Deacon Mike Mano, is in session.
And good Thursday morning from the Iowa Catholic Radio Studios in West Des Moines. I'm Deacon Mike Mann. I'm here with Cheryl Wiesenhan, who's sitting in for the vacationing Gina, either vacationing or she ran away. We're not sure yet, but we expect her back next week anyway, when the process servers catch up with her. How are you doing?
I am doing just fine. Can you believe this beautiful weather? God is so good for us, isn't it?
Well, on some days he is. On other days, no. We have, all I know is that my yard right now is soaked, and we put in a bird feeder the other day, and the ground was so damp that it just kind of fell over on it.
Oh,
yeah.
Dear.
Yeah, well, I got some squirrels got up there, so we got to do some repairs. But anyway, so we're going to have a good talk today, I think. I
see that. This is amazing.
Right. We have Lora Ries from the Heritage Foundation. She has something to do with the office over there, Border Security and Immigration. And we want to talk to her primarily about this new disinformation board that the DHS has started, see what that is all about, because obviously we're very concerned about freedom of speech, because you cannot evangelize unless you have free speech. And so that's very important to us. Plus, we like to make sure that there is truth out there, even though the Disinformation Board says that that's what they're there for. I'm not sure, but, Laura, I'm sure, knows a little bit more than we do about it.
Well, I do think that's a very big issue. I mean, and it is the top of the news of what everybody wants to talk about.
That's right. That's right. Other things going on down at the border, too, that we might get a chance to get into, which is the drug trafficking and human trafficking and that, which is kind of a mess. We'll leave it to others to figure out whether or not what they're doing in shutting the border is correct. Or opening the border, I guess, is correct. I'm not sure that it is, but that's a little over my pay grade right now. But what I am concerned about, I'm sure you're concerned about too, is the drugs that are coming across the border and the human trafficking that's all associated with what is going on down there.
It's destroying us from within.
It certainly is. It certainly is. But anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about with Laura when she gets here. Do you have a prayer to open us up with?
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. You know, today we're going to pray for peace. A God of peace, bring your peace to our violent world, peace in the hearts of all men and women, and peace among nations of the earth. Turn to your way of love those whose hearts and minds are consumed with hatred. Strengthen us in hope, and give us the wisdom and courage to work tirelessly for a world where true peace and love reign among the nations and in the hearts of all. That was from Pope Benedict.
Yes, and that's the one that we say every day here when or I should say every week, because we only want once a week. But anyway, we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we're going to have Laura with us. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio.
You are invited to join the Diocese of Des Moines Catholic Schools for the inaugural Bishop Celebration of Catholic Schools on August 27th in Indianola. Learn more and reserve your tickets at dmdiocese.org or 515-237-5079. A message from Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by CTO. What great news for donors to the Catholic Tuition Organization. You now receive 75%. Yes, 75% of your donation back in Iowa tax credits beginning January 1st of this year. Your support has helped thousands of students attend our Catholic schools. Best gift ever. Online, ctoiowa.org. At CTO, the bottom line, it's for the kids and their future.
Iowa Catholic Radio would like to thank our business partner, Elite Glass and Metal, LLC in Johnston. New construction, existing projects, and emergency service. EliteGlassandMetal.com, 515-284-0141.
It can be easy to forget about the dignity of another when we disagree with their ideas or actions. We start to focus on the things that make us different, and the thoughts start to divide us. Before we reach the conclusion of those thoughts, we must pause and remind ourselves, that person with a different idea or lifestyle has great dignity. The next time you find yourself ready to go toe-to-toe with someone, remember that they have dignity and deserve respect, even when we disagree.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Paul Martin and Paul Mitchell, owners of Imogene Ingredients. Imogene Ingredients supply specialized feed ingredients for livestock and pet diets to improve maternal and young animal health in both conventional and organic production. And we're back. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio. And we have with us right now Lora Ries, who is from the Heritage Foundation. She works with the Border Security and Immigration Center there. Lora, how are you this morning?
I am well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Certainly. We appreciate your time here. I want to talk about a couple of things. The biggest in our concern right now, or at least for today's program, has to do with this disinformation board that the Department of Homeland Security is building. It looks like we have somebody who is a cross between a Mary Poppins and a Joseph Goebbels who is in charge of it. What is this board, or do you know anything more about it than we do out here?
So this is something that the Biden administration very clumsily announced when the secretary had to go before Congress a couple weeks ago. And I think they did it as a signal, and the timing was important. The prospect of Elon Musk buying Twitter was emerging. The left was melting down over the thought of that. They were worried they were going to lose that avenue of censorship of conservatives. Former President Barack Obama came out and said we need to censor more misinformation, disinformation, that too many people were dying from it. And so then this announcement comes, I believe, as a signal to the left that don't worry, even though elections are coming up, we have this other avenue of censorship. And this woman, Nina Jankowicz, who they picked to head this, all of her videos consistently show that that's what she's on about. She should be nowhere near this board, and it's not even a constitutional function of the federal government to try and declare what is truth or not.
Yeah, and as we look at it, it seems like this woman is more of a joke than anything else. She doesn't seem to have any serious, true thoughts in her mind. She's just going out to grind a particular axe.
Yeah, she's got a pretty poor record. She said that the Russian dossier on Donald Trump was true, that the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation. For COVID response, she said, yes, please lock us down. She said that Republicans and other disinformers engage in disinformation for profit regarding critical race theory. And the latest video that is out says that she, because she has a verified Twitter account, that she should be able to label and censor other tweets to add context to the content. I think that right there gives the game away as to what she plans on doing in this role. I
think the left has given the game away, too, by their reaction to Musk.
Yes, clearly this is a pain point for them. They feel losing something, and I think it's the censorship and the ability to control the narrative.
And how? Go ahead.
The main takeaway is we have lived through 2020, and so Americans' eyes are open now to what they seek to do and what they have done, whether it was regarding COVID response, masks, vaccinations, you name it, as well as the 2020 election. So they can't keep trying the same old tactics and expect no one to question it any longer.
Yeah. Cheryl, you had a question.
Yeah, Ms. Ries, I have a question, and that is, he rolled this, Secretary Mayorkas just, blurted this out in that testimony a couple of weeks ago. And yet I've heard news reports that say she's been in this role for a while. Can you clarify that for me? Because it's my understanding that she's been doing this for the administration for a while. That in itself is scary to me.
Yeah, it looks like she has been employed at DHS for about 2 months before this announcement came out. I think they announced it when they did, like I said, to send a signal to the left on the heels of Elon Musk buying Twitter and making it very clear that he was going to make Twitter much more open and allow a lot more content on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
What is this board supposed to do? What is the function of the board, or how is it supposed to work? Or does anybody have any idea of what's going on?
It's still an open question, and every time Mayorkas talks publicly, he says something differently. They have talked about discouraging would-be illegal migrants from connecting with smugglers south of the border. Yet CBP does that and has been doing that, so they don't need her for that. They've talked about worrying about Hispanics and the elections. I think that gives the game away a little bit. They've talked about how FEMA is warns against fraud alerts and fraud schemes after natural disasters. Again, FEMA's been doing that for a very long time. I don't think they've yet landed on what exactly they're going to do, or at least the ability to admit what they're going to do. And so I think they're still reaching for straws as to what they can say publicly.
I imagine it would be used by a lot of on the left as saying, see, the government even calls that misinformation.
Right. And, I mean, there are plenty of dots that Americans can connect here with this administration and with Democrats in Congress, in that they've called for more censorship, not less. When the Justice Department stands up a unit to go after parents who go to school board meetings as potential domestic terrorists, you've got Secretary Mayorkas at DHS in several of the last terrorism bulletins listing domestic terrorists, particularly white supremacists, as the number one terror threat for this country, as if foreign terror threats weren't number one, particularly when we've got a wide open border and foreign nationals from at least 157 countries have crossed that border. So they are turning inward. They are turning against their political opponents, and they're going to use speech as their tool to do it.
Okay, and it does sound a lot like Joseph Goebbels.
Sadly, yes, it does.
History continues to repeat itself. And it's interesting, too, that the Justice Department is not looking into the threats against the Supreme Court right now. But as you say, the people that protest at a school board meeting, they get investigated.
Yeah, this only goes one way.
Yeah.
When Jen Psaki said at the podium, it's perfectly okay for protesters with passion to go to Supreme Court Justice homes and threaten them and scare them. I'm quite confident that if the mob showed up at Jen Psaki's house, she would be singing a different tune.
I think she would. Let me turn the page here a little bit, since you are involved with what is going on in the border. How critical is the drug epidemic right now with the border open the way it is?
Well, it's historic. We just hit, today they've announced a second annual historic level of overdose, mostly from fentanyl. Over 107,000 Americans died last year from overdoses. The year before it was 100,000, and that was a new record. So we are going in the wrong direction, and none of this seems to get the attention of the Biden administration. So I don't know how many people have to die, or if a particular person has to die to get their attention. It shouldn't be that way, and this president needs to get his priorities straight. His number one job is to protect America and Americans, and he seems more concerned with Ukraine at the moment.
Yeah, and how about the human trafficking that's going on, especially the sex trafficking?
Well, with the open border, they are creating more trafficking victims. The unaccompanied children that they encourage, the women who also bring children, these are horrific journeys that they make. No one crosses that border without the cartel's involvement, and these cartel members are the worst of the worst. So the administration likes to tout that it protects trafficking victims, yet it is creating more trafficking victims.
Sounds more like
and then it just
Go ahead.
And then it just throws good money after bad by saying, well, we're going to give you a visa to stay here, and we're going to spend all kinds of money to investigate and to rehabilitate you, et cetera, et cetera. But if they prevented the illegal immigration in the first place, then we wouldn't have these victims or these costs.
That's right. Cheryl?
You mentioned the fact that we have all this coming in over the border, and yet our focus seems to be right now on Ukraine. Not that there's anything wrong with focusing on Ukraine. As Jen Psaki is so quick to say, we can walk and talk and chew gum at the same time. Obviously, they cannot. And my question is, if you're coming in over the border, our southern border is porous, not only with the fentanyl, but with the drug trafficking and with all the illegal people that with no place to put them there on the southern border. What in the world can we, as Christians, do to make this a better place? It's just horrible. And I believe with my whole heart, and this is just my opinion, is that they want to do this. The Biden administration wants to do this. So what can we do, we as Christians and as good people in America, what can we do at this point, in your opinion?
The Biden administration does want to do this. When it comes to helping people who are truly persecuted, and, we're talking Ukrainians are being attacked for their nationality and for their religion, or Afghans. The best thing to do, we can help the most people by helping them in their region. So Eastern European countries have offered Ukrainians safe resettlement there. They can live there a number of years. They can get work permits, et cetera. So we should be sending aid to those countries through NGOs to help them resettle there. If we encourage them to come to the U.S., and border agents are starting to see a number of Ukrainians cross the southern border illegally, then we are not helping the most people. And technically, they are not eligible for asylum here because they could be firmly resettled in Eastern Europe. So there's a concept of you can't traverse through safe countries, not seek refuge there, and then country shop just to come to the U.S. So one, it's to help truly persecuted people, and most of the people crossing the southern border are not eligible for asylum because they're coming here for economic reasons, not for past persecution.
Mm-hmm. And it still leaves us with a bunch of people from Afghanistan that were flown in rather quickly that we have to deal with.
Yeah, that was an absolute mess. So in addition to helping more people in their own region, which would certainly apply in Afghanistan as well, the goal should be that they be able to return to their home country when conditions warrant it to help rebuild. Everyone should be for that. But also, for those people who you do bring here, it needs to be, one, a manageable number, which the Biden administration didn't do, and two, they need to be thoroughly vetted. We don't want to be bringing in known and suspected terrorists who are then going to harm us here. And the Biden administration certainly didn't follow that rule either. So they just fumbled across the board when it came to the Afghanistan evacuation.
We're running out of time here, Laura, but I did want to ask you to tell the listeners here how people can follow you or get a hold of you at the Heritage Foundation.
So heritage.org, and I have my work listed there, or they can follow me on Twitter at LORA_RIES.
Very good. We certainly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today. God bless you in your work. And we'll be talking to you again as this thing ravels out still. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Certainly. We're going to take a short break right now. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Mercy College of Health Sciences, where you can chart your course for more.
Mercy College provides unparalleled clinical rotations, hands-on learning, accelerated education, and flexible schedules. Since 1899, Mercy College has been transforming students into healthcare professionals. Guided by Catholic values, our faculty put classroom theory into practice. Students are prepared for roles in service and leadership throughout their own careers.
Learn more at mchs.edu. Mercy College of Health Sciences, mchs.edu.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by Dental Associates, addressing your smile needs and dreams. 515-225-6742. Des Moines-DentalAssociates.com. Thank you, Dental Associates, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Hello, this is Steve Raid, inviting you to join me along with Matt Wilcom and Father P.J. McManus for the Iowa Catholic Radio's 15th anniversary pilgrimage to the Holy Land, November 11 through the 20th, 2023. We'll have Mass and dinner on the shores of the Sea of Galilee and visit the upper room where Jesus instituted the Holy Eucharist. Plus, my wife Janet and I will be offering invigorating teaching along the way. Not all pilgrimages are created equal. Brochures and details available at iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Knights of Columbus, Borman, and Pfeiffer Agency. Serving the Catholic families in Iowa, the Knights of Columbus is a fraternal benefit society providing financial security to members and their families, specializing in life insurance, long-term care insurance, disability income insurance, and retirement annuities. You can reach Knights of Columbus Field Agent Gregory Waddle at 563-689-6801. That's 563-689-6801. Thank you, and God bless.
And we're back. You're listening to Faith on Trial on Iowa Catholic Radio. Cheryl, it was an interesting conversation today with Lora. It's a little kind of out of our bailiwick somewhat. We normally don't get involved in these type of discussions here, but I think it's important knowing about the fentanyl, but especially knowing about the disinformation board.
I think what's so important about that is the fact that it does affect all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at it from I don't want someone to tell me what to think, say, or do, but you also have to look at it of all the detrimental things that are being done by open border and people coming in over the border. I for one, am very happy that we do have the Heritage Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
That they do what they do and that they try to keep a straight and even keel about things. They're obviously well known in what they do.
What's even best about the Heritage Foundation is when we want to talk about a particular subject, we call our contact there and say, here's our topic. They will find us the expert that knows what to talk about.
Absolutely, which is good for the show. That's wonderful to know because they are very good at it. In preparing to have this conversation today, one of the things that came out of it, without a doubt, is how can the Biden administration be so blind to what's going on our southern border and this disinformation conversation at the same time while we're trying to help everyone around the world.
Yeah, because I actually think that what's going on down there is inhumane.
Exactly.
Especially when you're seeing people drown in the river. As our National Guardsmen drowned down there trying to save somebody who it turned out was a drug peddler. And it puts a lot of people at risk. And I like Laura reemphasizing the point that most of these people are not qualified for asylum right now, especially since they've gone through countries that they could rest in and then decided to come here, but it's more for economic reasons.
Well, we know that it can work. I mean, whether you're a Trump person or not a Trump person, those administrative ideas of how we kept them at bay really worked. And it is peace through strength. And how can we do that? And I understand that completely. I also feel every single day when I turn on the news, no matter what network I'm on, and I turn that in, I think of those people in Eagle Pass, Texas, and Aurora, Texas, and all these places down there, little small towns like we have all over the state of Iowa. You think about that and you think about how are they absorbing this?
They're not.
They're not.
They're not,
and
very simply.
That's as much a problem as our humane or inhumanity towards these people.
Yeah, and we have little places around the country where these people are being flown to.
Yes.
We have a school now that has a new dozen or 2 dozen students that can't speak English that they have to take care of. And these things all cause us some problems. And I think it's fair to ask, are we doing the right thing here this way? Obviously, we want to be humane.
Right.
Obviously, there's this certain amount of Christian charity that is due to people who are refugees and people who are poor and who people need help. But I'm not sure that they have determined that that's the case in all cases. Not when people are coming over 15,000 at a time.
I would
from the
concur.
border.
I would totally concur.
We have a couple other cases here that we have down there that might be kind of interesting just to mention here.
Well, I saw over the weekend that incredible story out of the Our Lady of the Angels Catholic Church in Los Angeles, and how a radical abortion group, they call themselves Ruth Sent Us, and they went in right in the middle of Mass and disturbed it, tried to destroy it. The vulgarity of what they were saying, they said keep praying how was it they put it? We'll be burning the Eucharist to show our disgust. And it went on and on.
Yeah.
They are a leading abortion group. And what was interesting, if you saw in the news reports, the members of Our Lady of the Angels Church tried very hard to push them back discreetly and get them out of there. These people did not care at all that they were desecrating our faith.
And burning the Eucharist.
Yes.
There's a story there where a tabernacle was stolen from a church.
And that was in Katy, Texas, where they stole it. And they said, we don't know who did it, but the police are investigating. Pray for those who committed this criminal sacrilege. I mean, can you even imagine in your local parish if you went in there and the tabernacle was gone?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of our local parish, you know that in June, St. Augustine's is going to host this Sunday evening Latin Mass.
That is correct. I saw that. Yes, I did see that.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. I'm getting the signal here that we're just about out of time. So, Cheryl, let me thank you for joining us today. I certainly appreciate you coming in.
Happy to do it.
And we'll give your regards to Gina when she gets back.
Absolutely.
Like I say, the process servers are out trying to find her right now. We'll get her. We'll get her back.
It's someday.
Yeah, we'll get her back. All right, that's it for now. Let's end with our prayer. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. That's it for today. We will be back here again next week. In the meantime, have a blessed and peaceful week.
Our freedom of conscience and religion is being challenged by laws and regulations imposed by secular society. Faith on Trial, with Defender of the Faith, Deacon Mike Mano. Faith on Trial, Thursdays at 10 a.m. on Iowa Catholic Radio, iowacatholicradio.com, and the Iowa Catholic Radio app.